Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. Ideally, as you go through the years, there's this process called actualization that I would hope that you would be involved in. And actualization simply means that you're in a process of growing, trying to become the best version of yourself that you know you can be. And what it means is as you go along with each year and with all the many experiences that you have, you learn from both your highs and your lows, your pluses and your minuses. And you learn how to find meaning through all the many different experiences that you have and the interactions that you have with other individuals. And it's a very broad and it's a very rewarding kind of exercise that literally can be lifelong. Now, when you bring that narcissistic individual into the mix, they have a goal, and it's not actualization. Basically, narcissists are so in the moment trying to make their case for who they are and for their self-importance that their goal in life is, I want to be satisfied right now. I want my personal agenda to be met right now, period, end of discussion. And as a result, they don't grow and they inhibit the growth that you might be committed to. Now, all through this, when you see that narcissists are very self-absorbed, they're very now-focused, they have this desire to just meet their own personal standards, there's one assumption that these individuals make that indicate they don't get you. They don't understand you, and they don't have a desire to understand you. And that one thing that they do not understand about you can be summarized by their thought when they think, you need to be controlled. And then they add to it, and there's a presumption, and I'm just the person who can do that. Narcissists, as they examine you, as they interact with you, are constantly thinking there are so many things about you that I can't deal with. I've got to get you online. And as a result of that one misassumption that they make about you, you can see that this feeds the fact that they're argumentative, they are easily critical, they give you advice that you didn't ask for, they're stubborn, they do a lot of telling, they don't do much discussion at all. And if you insinuate that there might be some things on their end of the equation that need to be adjusted, it's like, no, I don't need to be controlled, you need to be controlled. And in doing so, this one misassumption about you reveals so much about how they think about themselves and about life. And I want you to be able to see it because they're so off base and they want to draw you off base so that you're not on that actualization path. For example, they think, keep in mind, I'm special, you're not. I know the truth, you don't. My priorities matters, yours don't. I'm quite adequate. You're inadequate. When we differ, then you need to set aside your thoughts and go along with me. If you'll just do as I say, your life will be so much better. And then they illustrate it all in that one summary statement. You need to be controlled. And they'll stubbornly hold on to this false sense of enlightenment. And I know that as you realize there's this huge misunderstanding they have of you, you realize this is not a good strategy for building relationships. And yet that's their go-to belief. And they illustrate over and over and over. They don't get you. Simply put, when a narcissist comes at you with that mindset that says you need to be controlled, it represents one grand insult. It represents a very flawed belief system that they're drawing upon, but as they do, they act upon it as if it's the gospel truth, which it absolutely is not. There's certain things that they just don't understand that go along with that notion, and that is, first, nobody likes to be motivated by insults. Nobody likes to be motivated by mandates and duty and obligation. They don't understand that about you. And even when the controller may win, if they say, well, I succeeded in controlling you, they don't get the fact that the relationship itself loses, because you see, relationships are not about win and lose. It's not about one up and one down. And they fail to acknowledge that when they have this notion that says you need to be controlled, it sets up a pulling apart kind of an inevitability in the relationship. Arguments will easily ensue. Sometimes you might collapse. Sometimes they might collapse emotionally. Sometimes there's rebellion. Sometimes it's on your side, their side. Anger becomes a natural byproduct of all of this. And you know what the narcissist's response to all of that is? Well, this proves that you need to be controlled. They just keep going back to that failed misunderstanding of you. And when you don't go along with their program, you're considered to be dumb. You're considered to be a screw up. Now, there are certain insights that I hope that you can hold on to so that when you are on the receiving end of this misunderstanding of you, that you can cling to so that this doesn't just take you off of your healthy path towards your actualization. First and foremost, let's just acknowledge when a narcissist invalidates your interpretations, when they invalidate your feelings or your preferences, it doesn't mean that you're invalid. It just means that that's where they are. When a narcissist wants to trash your character, it doesn't mean you're trash. It means that's how they think. That's how they process. When a narcissist implies that they have superiority, which by default means that you are inferior, that's not a commentary about you. That simply speaks about the depth of their own pervasive insecurity where they have to build themselves up at someone else's expense. Ideally, you're to be honored. Ideally, you're to be respected. Ideally, you're to be listened to. You're to be heard and consulted. Ideally, you're to be deemed as worthy. You're to be accepted. You're to be considered as an equal, a fellow sojourner. And a narcissist who thinks you need to be controlled knows of none of that. And I'm hoping that you can be driven not by the narcissist's fundamental misunderstanding of you, but I'm hoping you can be driven by your own self-affirming realizations, which is part of that actualization. For example, I hope that you can remind yourself, you have an independent, free mind. Listen to it. You have a natural curiosity. Follow that. See where it takes you. You have a core competence. Stand in it. Be an ongoing learner. You have basic dignity. Hold on to it and relish it for all it's worth. You have the capacity for integrity. Build upon it. You were meant to love. Receive love into yourself and pass it along. Be a person that's known as a peaceful, loving individual. You have your own unique blend of skills and pluses and minuses and life experiences and hopes and dreams. Accept yourself in the midst of all of that. Do you need to be controlled? Well, why don't we say this? Okay, I do need to be controlled, but not by that narcissist. You see, I'm going to be controlled by my own well-conceived ideas. I'm going to be controlled by my personal standards and values. I'm going to be controlled by my own talents and interests. I'm going to be controlled by my own spiritual insights. I'm going to be controlled by the wisdom that I have gained through the years. I'm going to be controlled by my commitment to psychological wholeness. And when that narcissist comes along with that errant notion that shows that they don't get me whatsoever, that says you need to be controlled, I'm going to pronounce that to be wrong. And by the way, when you make mistakes or when you err, you still don't need to be controlled by them. You're a work in progress. You're able to learn. And one of the best ways to learn is to examine where you went wrong and then you make correction. You can certainly collaborate with other individuals. You can seek input, but that's not the same as being controlled. The narcissist shows a fundamental misunderstanding of you when they just keep coming back to that notion over and over that says you need to be controlled. I hope that you can respond to all of that by reminding yourself, I have way too much self-respect than to filter my way of life through someone who believes that it's legitimate to operate in an invalidating way toward me. I'm not going to subject myself to that. The narcissist can take their errant notion about who I am and they can go with it as far as they want in their own personal way of thinking. I know better. I'm going to be better. I'm going to follow my own independent path, and I'm confident that who I am is anchored in integrity. That's what controls me. And the narcissist, then they're just simply going to have to be wrong. I'm not going to subject myself to their control. It's not what I do. I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness about what you're dealing with. These individuals can be relentless and they can keep coming after you. One of the reasons I keep putting these videos out is I want you to be in a growth and learning mode. And so if you've not already hit the subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. Hit the like button too. We're going to keep more videos coming. Knowledge is power, and I want you to have that sense of inner strength that the narcissist simply cannot take away from you. If you have a need for therapy, I would encourage you to do so. You know that I've been sponsored for years now by the people at BetterHelp.com, and there's a link below if you would be interested in online therapy. Then it's convenient and it's effective and it's cost effective as well. And if you have that need, I would strongly encourage you to go through the link and get the help that you would deserve. In addition to that, I have my therapeutic courses, you know. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. We have This Is Me about establishing boundaries, Free to Be, finding yourself. And each of the courses has multiple videos, written documents, and guided questions. You can work it at your own pace. We also have my webinars. We have our podcast, our website that has many articles. We have my books, lots of resources. Okay, so the narcissists, they start with the assumption that says you need to be controlled. And when they do, they illustrate they do not understand you in the least. They don't get you. But I'm hoping you get yourself and you can have this notion that says, well, actually, I'm in an actualization process and I'm going forward towards things that are good. And if the narcissist thinks that their controlling message over me is part of that, I've got news for them. That's not how I roll. And I hope that as you hold on to your determination to be the healthiest version of yourself that you can be, that it positions you to be a person of steadiness, dignity, respect, and civility, as we say here on Team Healthy. And in the end, I'm hoping that you're going to be able to find and maintain your sense of peace.